The H1B Guy here, and today, the H1B Guy news for the week ending January 15th, 2021. But before we get started, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't already, to please subscribe to the H1B Guy channel here on YouTube and like this video so that I can continue to produce more content like this for you. I also wanted to mention the H1B Guy offers a variety of consulting services. I help businesses and individuals solve complex work authorization issues in the recruitment process while bringing awareness to employment-based immigration benefits. Today's news is brought to you by RecruiterNetworks.com, the smart solution for digital perm ads since 2001. We are now 5 days away from the inauguration of the 46th President of the United States. I hope you are all ready, because I think there is going to be a lot of news as it relates to immigration in the next few weeks. A quick reminder, please make plans to watch the Documented Dreamers live on Thursday, January 21st, 2021 at 9 p.m. Eastern, here on the H1B Guy channel. And if you haven't, please check out the H1B Guy Introduces the Documented Dreamers series featuring ImproveTheDream.org. Now, the news. January 10th, 2021. In an article written on SHRM.org for their talent acquisition news titled USCIS Drops Proposed Immigration Filing Fee Increases. Quote, the contested immigration filing fee increases proposed last summer by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, will not go into effect. On August 3, 2020, USCIS issued the rule that would have adjusted fees by an average increase of 20%. The agency proposed splitting up Form I-129 used by employers to petition for guest workers under the H1B, H2A, H2B, L1, O, and TN visa classifications into different forms with different fees imposed on each visa type. Currently, a fee of $460 covers all of the temporary worker visa petitions. The new filing fees would have been for H-1B visas, $555, for L-1 visas, $805, for O visas, $705, for TN visas, $695, for H-2A visas, up to $850, and for H-2B visas, up to $715. USCIS also planned to publish updated forms, including a new Form I-129 and a new Form I-765 application for employment authorization. Fees for applications for employment authorization were scheduled to rise from $410 to $550. Employers with a high proportion of H-1B and L-1 employees would have been required to make additional fee payments when filing petitions for these workers. According to USCIS, a fee-funded agency, the increases were necessary to continue operations. The coronavirus pandemic led to a sharp decline in revenue last year, and at one point the agency considered furloughing 70% of its staff. In addition to fee increases, premium processing, whereby employers pay more for expedited service, would have been extended by a week from 15 calendar days to 15 business days. Well, for now, this is good news for petitioners and beneficiaries, but this is only temporary. As widely reported, and as we've discussed several times here on this channel, USCIS was on the verge of being bankrupt and was requiring a congressional bailout in order to continue their operations for fiscal year 2021. Everything USCIS does is funded based on filing fees, with premium processing being their most profitable cash cow. If they wanted to seamlessly implement a fee increase by separating out the I-129 into separate filings, then they are going to have to accept electronic filings for all I-129s, not just H-2s. Here's hoping we see an upgrade option for premium processing for the I-765 pretty soon. I'm fairly confident that that would create an instant injection of cash flow for USCIS. January 12th, 2021. In an article written by Ethan Barron for the Mercury News titled H1B Trump Administration Issues New Wage Mandate After Court Loss. Quote, after losing a lawsuit brought by the Bay Area Council and others, the administration of President Donald Trump on Tuesday issued a new rule on mandatory wages for workers on the H-1B visa, intended for jobs requiring specialized skills and widely used by Silicon Valley tech firms. The new rules are the administration's second attempt at an effort it says is designed to protect American workers from cheaper foreign labor. The new rule also increases mandated pay for H-1B workers, but at a slightly lower rates. Workers on the visa at the lowest wage level must receive at least the 35th percentile of the prevailing wage for their job type and location, compared to the 45th percentile in the previous rule. Workers at the highest wage level must receive the 90th percentile compared to the 95th percentile. The U.S. Department of Labor, in text of Tuesday's rule, said the existing required wage levels have been in place for 20 years. The U.S. Department of Labor is taking these steps to strengthen wage protections, address abuses in the visa programs, and protect American workers from being undercut by cheaper foreign labor. Labor Secretary Eugene Scalia said in a statement, "These changes help ensure that these important foreign worker programs function as Congress intended, while securing American workers' opportunities for stable, good-paying jobs. It's unclear whether the new rule will be enacted." A spokesman for the President-elect Joe Biden said his administration will freeze recent Trump rules. The Trump administration has cracked down on the H-1B program, dramatically increasing visa denials for staffing companies and outsourcers that contract out foreign workers. Critics have argued that these companies and their clients use H-1Bs to supplant U.S. workers, drive down wages, and send work overseas. Major technology companies who hire H-1B workers directly and also via staffing firms contend that the visa is crucial to securing the world's top talent, and they lobby to increase the annual 85,000 cap on new visas. Of the 825 approvals HCL received in the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2020, 29% carried more than 20% higher than the prevailing pay. At Outsourcer's Emphasis and WePro, 1% of approvals were over that level, while at Outsourcer Cognizant, with 8,545 approvals, there were none. Data on Cisco, which had 2,098 approvals in fiscal year 2019, shows its H-1B pay practices more in line with outsourcers. Of 913 approvals in the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2020, the San Jose technology giant set pay of more than 20% of prevailing wage for 7%, the Department of Labor data showed. If you thought that President Trump's administration was going to go out quietly as it relates to H-1B reform, you were wrong. After racking up a series of losses in the courts, we now see a regroup with a scaled-back approach, although it really isn't that different. Moving to a scaled approach that would begin transitional phases from the date of enactment through June 30th, 2021, then subsequent incremental increases thereafter. I was asked the other day on Twitter if I thought that this NPRM was practical and reasonable. My response was no, I do not. Not on the back of a global pandemic. While the stock market is currently at an all-time high, the salaries in the jobs market are not. Do the levels need to be increased? Yes. As I said earlier, I think that this will happen this year, but not in this way. Jokingly, I set the over-under at 10 days before a lawsuit would be filed shortly after this announcement was released. While that is still a possibility, the better odds lay in the hands of the next president of the United States. This rule will be a real litmus test on how the new administration is going to handle H-1B visas and the temporary foreign worker in general. January 13th, 2021. In an article written by Meredith Stewart and Jackson Lewis for JD Supra titled USCIS Delays Issuing Receipt Notices for Applications, Petitions Filed at Certain Lockboxes. Quote, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, announced that it is experiencing delays in issuing receipt notices for some applications and petitions filed at USCIS lockboxes that are located in Chicago, Illinois, Phoenix, Arizona, and Louisville, Texas. This announcement does not come as a surprise to most filers since delays have been experienced for some time and have become even longer since October 2020 when thousands of Form I-485 adjustment of status applications were filed. Adjustments due to COVID-19 restrictions at USCIS are adding to the problems. Not only can it take more than 2 months for receipts to be issued, but filing fee checks, the cashing of which became a way to determine whether an application or petition was received, are not timely cashed. These delays are seen with other cases filed at Lockbox addresses, such as Form I-765 applications for employment authorization and Form I-131 application for travel documents. The delays have been particularly long for students applying for EADs who, like others, are experiencing gaps in employment authorization. USCIS confirmed that despite any delay, once the receipt is issued, it will reflect that actual date of receipt. USCIS also maintains the delays will not result in payments going beyond their validity dates. USCIS asks stakeholders to be patient and says it is working extra hours and redistributing workloads to deal with the backlogs. In order to speed up the receipt acknowledgement process, USCIS suggested applicants complete and attach Form G1145 e-notification of application petition acceptance to their filings at Lockboxes to request a text message or email upon receipt. For the majority of you who follow this channel, this comes as no surprise. There are some horror stories that are out there surrounding I-765, specifically for H-4 EADs, that almost sound made up. I know of a few cases that are as far back as February 2020. 90% of H-4 EAD holders are women. Think about that. They cannot work unless they have their EAD card in hand. Here's a case of reducing the workforce, intentional or not. Something has to change. The one thing from this article that really gets me is that they are not cashing the checks on these accounts receivable in a timely manner. You want to avoid bankruptcy and work stoppage? Get those checks cashed and stop blaming COVID. All the more reason to move to an electronic filing system with direct deposit based filing fees. Let's get those AOS checks cashed and let the beneficiaries know you've received the application. And here's to hoping that things start to pick up on the processing times for I-765s, because there are thousands of women that are anxiously waiting for their work authorization to be extended and their employers need them. For the full post on the H1B Guy news for the week ending January 15th, 2021, please check out the H1BGuy.com. And while you're there, please subscribe to the H1BGuy.com so that you can receive the H1B Guy Digest. And a reminder that today's news was brought to you by RecruiterNetworks.com, the smart solution for digital perm ads since 2001. This national job board network provides recruitment websites in 1,024 major U.S. metro areas. Each local job board is its own portal and is a low-cost resource for immigration recruitment ads for all industries and professions with a flat price of $225 per ad regardless of which city you choose. RecruiterNetworks.com has been the #1 place for immigration attorneys, immigration ad agencies, and employers to meet the DOL requirements for the digital portion of the perm advertisement rules. RecruiterNetworks.com. Tell them the H1B Guy sent you. I'd like to just ask you again to please like this video. Please subscribe to the H1B Guy channel here on YouTube and click the bell for notifications so that you're notified anytime we post new content here to this channel, or that when we go live, like we will on January 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch my content. I really appreciate your support. The H1B Guy, your global source for all things H1B.